friends, Paul here in the RoJoBe Music Workshop, and welcome to part 5 of the violin neck replacement project. Okay, so in the previous episode, which was just a few days ago for you, but for me, probably at least 10 days ago, when I glued the neck in of the violin, and I said I was going to leave it at least a few hours to set. Well, I left it about 2 or 3 days, just to be sure. And I'll be honest, I've done some of the jobs since then off camera. So I said I was going to stain the headstock and the heel of the neck with some wood stain that I have, which the colour match is pretty good. And I was going to airbrush it to make it A, quicker, and B, neater. Well, I couldn't get either of my airbrushes to work properly, and I couldn't be bothered to mess about with it, so I painted it by hand. And there it is. Now, I don't know how well you can see. Let me just put the light on. I don't know how well you can see the colour match. It is a bit lighter. You can see the heel against the body. It's a little bit lighter in colour. And the headstock the same, so it's a little bit lighter, but it's close enough. I mean, it had 7 or 8 really thin coats of this wood stain brushed on by hand. The finish isn't perfect, but as I've said before, this is a student instrument. It's not for sale, it doesn't belong to a customer, it does not have to be perfect. So, in my opinion, it's good enough. So, yeah, it had 7 or 8 coats of wood stain, and then about 4 or 5 coats of lacquer. And obviously, you know, that in itself is time consuming. And, you know, the drying time as well between coats is what takes the time. So, like 7 to 10 days. It's been several days now since I finished doing this, and I wanted to leave it, you know, a few days to make sure that the lacquer is fully set and hardened. I mean, even though usually after a few hours it's dry to the touch, it feels dry, but it's still soft. It will still be soft underneath, and you need to leave lacquer time to harden, and I think I've left it long enough. It's been a few days now. So so yeah, the heel, neck heel and the headstock are I'm going to say painted and lacquered, and the neck I've sanded to a really fine smooth finish, and applied the boiled linseed oil to the back of the neck and to the fingerboard. So that's all done. Now, another couple of jobs I have done off camera. Again, just because it's so time consuming and fiddly and I have to concentrate on what I'm doing, is, don't know if you can see it, but I've put the, yeah, it's not focusing, I've put the slots or grooves in the nut, and also, one second, in the bridge. So you can probably see, I've actually put pencil marks inside the grooves on here, and you won't see it on here, but I've run some pencil through there. So, you know, that's carbon, and that helps the strings to glide without sticking and catching. Now, the spacing of the slots on the bridge and on the nut, as with any stringed instrument, are absolutely crucial. Obviously, on something with such a tiny fingerboard, you know, it's even more so. So luckily, I have something here which I bought a long time ago, and it's this little gadget, and it's for all sorts of calculations, if you like, on violin stuff. So you see the top where it says EADG. Those lines are for marking the bridge. And then, I don't know how well you're going to see it, but there's also 4 marks at the bottom. So along this edge, and those are for marking the nut. Nut. I'm not quite sure what this thing is for here, but anyway, this is to this is basically a template. You can use this to make a bridge, but you also use it for marking the string slots for the bridge at the top and the nut at the bottom. So that's what I used to make sure that I got the string slots in accurate positions. Again, like I said, I didn't film it because it's fiddly, it's time consuming, and I need to really concentrate on what I'm doing, and I may not be able to show you, exactly what I am doing. So that I did those two jobs off camera. So we've got the nut slots and the slots in the top of the bridge all properly spaced. Incidentally, this is the bridge that came with the violin. I've got some new bridges, but obviously they're basically blank, so they're taller. They haven't got the angle. You can see it angles more down on this side. That's for the... Wait. Yeah, goes that way around. So yeah, so this side is higher than this side. So this side is for the bass strings and this for the treble strings. So yeah, that needed to be accurate. I needed to concentrate on what I was doing. And I used my fine cut saw just to start those slots. Now, I say fine cut, this blade is 0.3 of a millimeter thick. That's probably less than 15 thousandths of an inch thick. Specifically bought this saw for that kind of job. Now, I probably will have to open the slots up on the bridge and on the nut once I fit the strings. I may or may not need to actually. I'll see how well the strings sit on those little grooves, and if I need to open them up with my rather expensive nut files, then I will, but I won't do that at this stage. So, we are pretty much at the stage now of putting this thing back together. I mean, all the preparation's done, it's just a matter of rebuilding it, but there is one more job I need to do. So on the headstock, you've got the holes here for the tuning pegs. You can see, I think, that they're all the same size. Now, if we look at the old neck, albeit this silly, nasty plastic thing, you can see that every other one, i.e. this one and this one, I'm not sure how well you can see it, but they're a bit bigger, and this, on the other side, it's this one and this one, because obviously the tuning pegs are tapered. So this has come from factory without that taper cut into them. So that's what I'm going to do now, to fit the tuning pegs into the headstock. I've decided to go with these brown ones, which were the next size up from the originals. Okay, they don't match the hardware, but I quite like them. I think they'll be fine. So if we look now, it won't even go into the first part of any of these holes. So I need to ream out these holes to fit these tuning pegs. So let me just angle the camera down to where I'm working. Let's see, how's that? The light's in my face. Okay, can I zoom in a bit? I probably should a little bit. Okay, so I've got my proper violin tuning peg reamer here and my 4 tuning pegs. So I'm going to do it the same way round as it was on the original. It's probably the right way, because you've got to have the tuning pegs one this side, one this side, one this side, one this side, specifically for where the strings go. So I'm going to do it the same way round. So let me see, so from this side, it needs to be from the bottom, the second one and the fourth one. So, no further ado, let's get that started. And you see the reamer doesn't even start in there yet. So I might just open that up a little bit with one of these. I'll just open that hole a little bit just to get it started. That one and the top one. Looks as though it's going to take a fair bit of work to fit these. Quite a bit of reaming to do. Okay, so I've just kind of opened up this hole and this hole just so that the reamer can start. Okay, so let's start with that one. So it will probably work out that once the reamer just starts to poke out of the other side there, that will probably be about the right amount. Might need a bit more, so I'll get to there first and then see where we're at. So you can see it's starting to go through. I'm just putting my finger on the outside of the other hole, and then once I feel it start to poke through, I will check to see how we're doing. So you don't want to put too much force on here when you're doing this. It's not very thick wood here, so you've got to be careful not to break it. You've got to apply a little bit of pressure as you're turning, but not too much. Right, so that's just started to poke through there now. So I'm going to remove that and see where we're up to with the tuning peg fitting. Okay, there's still a little way to go yet, as you can see. It's started to go through, but we need a little bit more. Okay, so very carefully, let's go another 1/4 of an inch or so through. Okay, so you can see how much that's poking through now. So let's just try that. Okay, it's a bit closer, but still a way to go yet. Okay. Right, let's try that. Right, so that is just about started to meet the other side. It's just on the inside of the hole there, so just a little bit more, won't need much now. Okay, let's try that. Actually, it's just poking the finish through there where it was inside the hole. I'm just going to very gently shave that off with a single edge razor blade, because it will probably hold up the tuning peg a little bit. Just actually try a scalpel. That's better. Being careful not to mark anywhere else on the. This is actually called a pegboard, I think. So I'm just taking off the outer edge of that. Let's just try the tuning peg now. So it's almost through. Can you see that? I'm actually going to leave that there. Yeah, it should go through a little bit more, but I'm going to leave it there for now and move on to do the others. So let's just get this top one done. I should have marked where that reamer went to really, but never mind. Okay. Let's just move that out of the way. Okay. So I think that came, can't remember, I think it came through about 1/2 inch on the other side, seems to be about right. I've got some witness marks here of the wood that's on there, so probably go up to there. Right, let's just try that. Yeah, that's close. This is why you just do a little bit at a time. I mean, if I'd have gone up to that mark, I think it might have ended up too much. Obviously, because it narrows up towards the top as well, so you don't need to do as much. I didn't think of that, so I'll do it carefully, creep up on it. I think we'll need a tiny bit more, and once again I've just got to just pull that finish out from inside the hole. That's going to be holding it up a bit. This scalpel seems to do the job really well. Alright, let's just try that before I go any further, because that might have been holding it up. Can go a tiny bit more, not very much at all, just a couple of turns on the reamer, not much at all. And that is probably enough. Okay, so it's almost as far as that one. Again, I'm going to leave that where it is for now. One thing I forgot to mention with these new tuning pegs, they're quite smooth and shiny to the touch. So on the shaft here that goes through the headstock, I scuffed it up with some, lightly scuffed it with some 400 grit sandpaper just to take the shininess of it off it, so that we get a better friction, and therefore they shouldn't slip. So yeah, I did that with all four of the tuning pegs. Just used some 400 grit sandpaper and lightly scuffed up the surface of the whole shaft to take the shininess off. And I also did the same on the end pin, which you may remember is plastic. And as I said before, I don't think you get very good friction on shiny plastic. So I've scuffed the surface of that as well with 400 grit. So that's where I'm at this point in time, fitting the tuning pegs. So you've seen me do two of them, you've seen the process. I'm not going to film the rest of it. So once I finish doing that, and I've got the other two tuning pegs in the other side, it will then be time to start to put the thing together and do the setup. And as I've said before, the setup is probably going to be a fairly long process, you know, because I'm certainly no violin expert. I know how to set them up because they are relatively easy to put together. It's just a matter of making sure that everything's aligned, the bridge is in the correct position and standing up straight, and all of the strings are in their grooves in the bridge and the nut. And as I said, I may need to open those slots up a little bit with my all singing, all dancing nut files, but I won't know that until I get the strings on and also measure the gauges of the strings, because I don't think it says anywhere on the packaging what gauge the strings are. So I'll need to measure those and, you know, use the correct nut files to make them fit. So that's going to be the next stage. Once I've got these tuning pegs to fit, I will then start to put the thing together and set it up. And that may end up being over 2 videos, I'm not sure yet. Let's see how it goes. So, it's coming together, won't be long now. Hope you're enjoying this series of the violin neck replacement project. And I'm really happy with how it's gone so far. I know I shouldn't say that. I've still got to put the thing together and under string tension, so we'll see if my work is good then. Okay, in the meantime, please look after yourselves, look after each other, and we will see you soon. Peace.